Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. I'm back again. It's Sue on your channel, Chat to Sue. Parents that needs to talk about what we need to talk about with our children, with our families, right? And today's topic is generational trauma, right? We're still on trauma and we're going to deep dive on all these other topics, right? What is generational trauma? Generational trauma happens when the previous generation didn't heal their trauma and it's passed on to the next generation, right? And for an example, if one generation didn't heal physical abuse, right? That action is going to be passed on, or that trauma is going to be passed on to the next generation. It's kind of sad, right? So we need to heal so that we don't pass our traumas to the next generation. I mean, we know better now, right? Perhaps our parents didn't, or our great grandparents didn't know, right? But we do. So we need to heal, right? I was fascinated by one case, this celebrity that I'm not going to name names, right? I don't want to be sued. This celebrity is in jail now because of the shenanigans that he did, right? So I did some research on the previous generation, meaning mom, right? And dad. Dad died because of drugs, was selling drugs, and mom was doing the shenanigans with men in front of her child, right? So he inherited all of that, plus his own traumas that he had, right? So let's imagine if mom had healed that, right? Or didn't pass this to the son, right? We could be talking a different story, right? So let's just heal. Let's heal ourselves, right? I mean, sometimes talking helps, but there are deep-rooted curses or traumas that were there before we were even born that we don't know about. But if we sit down, or they were swept under the carpet, they were not talked about, right? We inherit them, whether we know it or we don't, right? We inherit. But if you heal yourself, you go to therapy, or you go to a social worker or anyone professional to talk about your issues, right? What you know, right? You might find out some other things that you didn't know that you know, right? I mean, we know better now. The generation of today knows. We've got so much information in our hands that we can use to heal ourselves, right? I've got a video that explains more on trauma, on generational trauma, and let's watch it. And thanks to Psych to Go, they've got amazing videos, so you can go to their channel and subscribe and watch videos. The nice thing about this is they've got videos that you can watch with your kids, right? So go to their channel. I will put their links on the comments. Please comment as well. Let me know what you want to talk about. And thank you to the people that subscribed. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And forward. Let's heal our nation. Let's heal ourselves. Remember, hurt people hurt others. So you don't want to get into the spot, to the position where, you're the one that knew that there was this information and you didn't heal. You didn't heal your generation. So let's heal. Here's the video. Watch, learn, and let's talk about it later.
What if the pain you're carrying isn't entirely yours? Could the struggles of your past generations be affecting your life today? Generational trauma is an invisible burden that can impact your emotions, behaviors, and overall well-being without you even realizing it. Let's take a look at what it is and some effective steps to heal from it. So what is generational trauma? Generational trauma is the psychological effect of traumatic events that get passed down through families. Events like abuse, war, oppression, racism, or violence can have a traumatic impact on individuals and end up posing ongoing challenges for their future generations. How is generational trauma passed down? Generational trauma is transferred both genetically and culturally. Trauma can lead to changes in our DNA. For instance, studies show that trauma can cause epigenetic changes, like DNA methylation, which can make future generations more vulnerable to conditions like depression and PTSD. Similarly, trauma can be passed down culturally through learned behaviors and patterns within families. Unhealthy habits and ways of coping can be passed from grandparents to parents and then to children. If you're wondering if this applies to you, we will talk about 2 examples. Let's see if you can relate to any of them. Consider Sai and Sai's sister. They grew up with an abusive father who struggled with addiction. For their safety, they had to live with their maternal grandmother, who believed in harsh discipline like spanking, yelling, and shaming, which did nothing to improve the children's behavior. It only made matters worse. Sai, labeled hyperactive and disruptive, was already getting into fights at school, while his sister developed anxiety and low self-esteem. Not only was she treated harshly at home, but she was also bullied at school due to her timid and insecure nature. Their early and repeated exposure to trauma elevated their body's stress hormones like cortisol, which can be damaging to their brain and body systems, setting the stage for future dysfunctional behaviors. In another example, Sai from an alternate universe had a mother who became emotionally numb after losing her own mother. This emotional numbness unknowingly affected Sai, leading to an insecure attachment style. Sai developed a fear of abandonment and became overly dependent on her partners for reassurance and validation, while struggling to trust others. As a result, Sai might become clingy in relationships or push people away to avoid getting hurt. In his quest to find the love and care she missed as a child, Sai may seek out partners that are unsuited for her and end up perpetuating the cycle of trauma. Do you find this video insightful? Like and subscribe for more. Major signs of generational trauma. Generational trauma manifests in various ways, impacting our emotions, mental health, physical well-being, and behavior. Here are some common signs. Number 1. Codependency. Codependency means relying too much on others for emotional support or approval. This often happens if you grew up in a family with unstable relationships or emotional neglect. Number 2. Hypervigilance. You feel worried all the time or always on edge as if danger is around every corner. This can be an inherited stress response. Number 3. Unhealthy attachment styles and dysfunctional family dynamics. Generational trauma can lead to frequent issues and arguments within the family. This can affect you and your relationships. It might make you afraid of being abandoned, emotionally distant, and make your relationships feel unstable. Number 4. Family history of mental health and substance abuse. Sometimes family trauma can lead to conditions like PTSD, anxiety, or depression. And when substance abuse runs in the family, it can become a way of coping that gets passed down through generations. Number 5. Excessive fear of death. While everyone fears death, generational trauma can make this fear extreme or excessive. This can be linked to the life-threatening events your ancestors went through. For example, if your parents survived a ghastly car accident, you might develop an unusual fear of dying when traveling on the road. Number 6. Low self-esteem and self-destructive behaviors. Growing up in a family where there was a lot of criticism or neglect can make you see yourself in a negative way. It causes deep-seated pain, lowers your confidence, and makes you hate yourself. In severe cases, it may even lead to hurting yourself on purpose. So, what can you do if you're dealing with generational trauma? Let's break it down into 3 simple steps. Recognize, repair, and rebuild. Recognize. Take a moment to reflect on your life and experiences. Identify any ways you act, feel, or think that might be a result of past trauma. Talk to a therapist to understand this better and get support. Seek a professional diagnosis and address feelings of guilt or shame that are making your symptoms worse. Talk openly with trusted family members to help them understand and support you better as well. Repair. Once you've acknowledged the trauma, you can start your healing journey. Work with a psychotherapist to understand where your trauma comes from and to learn ways to cope and heal. Connect with supportive and non-judgmental people who allow you to process your feelings, uplift your spirit, and make you feel safe. Family therapy can also be helpful for everyone to heal together. Rebuild. Focus on taking care of yourself by practicing mindfulness and daily meditation. Eat nutritious foods and make sure you get good sleep to help your brain and mood. Engage in relaxing activities like exercise, hobbies, or time in nature to reduce stress. If you're on medication, follow your doctor's instructions carefully and don't skip any doses. Moving forward, healing from trauma takes time, and it's different for everyone. There is no fixed timeline. It might take months or years, so be gentle with yourself as you make progress. Remember, generational trauma doesn't have to define you or your future. Instead of passing down pain, we can pass down healing. By taking proactive steps to recognize, repair, and rebuild, we can heal, end the cycle of trauma, and create a better and healthier future for ourselves and future generations. Want to learn more about how to deal with trauma? This video will help. Your past trauma is triggered in ways to heal. PTSD and CPTSD. Healing is possible.
There you are, parents. Let's heal the generational traumas that we have. Let's talk to our kids about stuff that we need to talk to them about. Let's talk to our parents. Sit down and really understand where your parents, how your parents grew up, right? Understand, where were you born? So what was going on really in your life? The amazing thing that I think the gift that my mom left me was communication, right? We were communicating about everything, every single thing, you know, how she grew up, what was going on in her life, and all the traumas that she went through. Well, she didn't know that those were traumas, but by listening and kind of like look at things now, I'm like, oh wow, okay, so this was a trauma, and you know, uh, I healed myself. I went through this therapy, and you know, got to understand what was going on in my life, right? So yeah, heal. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. I'm here if you want to ask questions, but communicate, right? With your children, with your parents, with your family. Sit down and have the conversations that you really need to have. Let's have them. Let's break this cycle of, oh no, we don't talk about that type of thing. Like, no, I want to know. Tell me, you know. But thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching my video. Yeah, let's heal our nation. I love you guys, and yeah, see you again soon. Bye.